As Eden said, this is our 100th episode, and in honor of that milestone, we've invited all of the past hosts of Tuesday Funk back to read for you tonight. Let's get started. Our first reader is Connor Coyne, a novelist living and working in Flint, Michigan. His first novel, Hungry Rats, has been hailed by Heartland Prize winner Jeffrey Renard Allen as, quote, an emotional and aesthetic tour de force. His second novel, Shattering Glass, has been praised by Gordon Young as, quote, a hypnotic tale that is at once universal and otherworldly, unquote. Connor has also published a collection of short stories titled Atlas, and his work has been featured on Vox.com, Belt Mag, and the Santa Clara Review, among many others. He is the founder of the Gothic Funk Nation, director of the Gothic Funk Press, and was the recipient of a 2013 Our Town grant by the NEA. And, most importantly, he is a founder of Tuesday Funk. Please give a big, warm welcome to Connor.
Holy shit. When I was 17 years old, some person very ill-advisedly bought me a abridged translation of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. And I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and you know, I saw things that nobody should have to see at 17. And I thought, hey, somebody should do for Flint what Victor Hugo did for Paris. And of course, that's an absurd proposition. But when you're 17, you can do it all. So I decided to do that thing, and I drafted the thing in a year. And then I've spent the last 20 years revising it, and now it is done. It's not done, but if anybody knows like an agent or publisher who's interested in a literary magical realist young adult book for adults that's sort of a 19th century take on what it's like growing up in Flint, Michigan, I'm interested in that. I'm going to read you the first two chapters of my baby, Urbantasm. I wasn't always the Antichrist. It happened one night when I was standing on an I-92 overpass, looking down. I was looking down through chain links onto the expressway below. There was blue neon, and it shined off the icy puddles, and the gutters were flushed with slush, and empty houses, ragged wrecks. They hung out on tiny lots on my left and my right, swollen with disappointment, ruptured at their seams. And beneath me, the cars that my city built left it. They left it forever. And across from me, on a rusted trestle, a freight train moved slowly past, and it was carrying the parts for more cars. As that train moved through, I thought about Drake. I thought about how God had fucked him over, how God had fucked all of us over. And then I thought about the house with a Jesus graffitied on its side, orange skin, blue eyes, green thorns, a welter of wounds, and I clenched my jaw so tightly, my teeth squeaked and cracked. Across from me, the train wheels squealed. If I wanted to save my friends, I'd have to murder God. Now, look, this is mostly my story, but I feel like I should start out by telling you about Drake. It'll make more sense that way. So, just so you know, right from the start what a fucking bastard God could be, and why we all had it in for him, because we all did. In the summer of 1993, Drake had just turned 16. He was about to be a junior. The world had finally seemed to open up for him. His mom had moved out of her little house in the Lestrade neighborhood, and she gave it to Drake's dad. Now, she knew damn well he wasn't going to pay any rent, but she didn't care as long as he kept both of the kids. Now, Drake would have abandoned houses next door instead of abandoned trailers. He, his sister, and his dad filled a couple dozen hefty sacks with their everything, and they dropped him in the trunk of their scraped-up Benedict. One trailer over, Sapphire watched, leaning against the bent wall, her narrow eyes shaded behind her two big sunglasses. "Ever gonna see you now?" she asked. See me at school, Drake said. Summer's done tomorrow. Suck a dick, she said and laughed. Come over tonight. Come over. What? 9? Yeah, bring Dee Dee. Yeah, I'll get JMO and TK. I'll get drinks from my dad. We'll bust up that hospital. I got gold, you know, now. Yeah, I got crazy gold. Well, he did. See, Drake wasn't a chalk. Fuck those racist fucks, no. They were a north side gang. They wanted to sell some coke and E out on the east side, and Drake was their man. Oh, well, okay, he was their middleman, but Easy had set the whole thing up. See, Drake hated the chalks, but he liked the money. And he also liked Easy. And how could you not like Easy talking the way he did? Dude had magnetism. Even before Drake had unpacked all his shit at the new place, even before the sun had dipped behind the swampy trees shadowing the creek, Easy pulled up in his moon blue star slipstream. Oh, it was a sweet-making model of a blue-collar beater. Rust patches shaped like Martian mountains silhouetted against a dusty sky. The man called Drake over to the window. What about this hood, D? Easy said. Is this all new to you, Lestrade? Lestrade, said Drake, leaning. My mom's lived here years. I know it. I know every street, every park, every squat kids go to fuck. Well, what about you? You fucking someone, D? Not yet, you know. How but you got plans on that? No. Well, you better stitch it up, then. Boys don't fuck, they die. Easy grinned without parting his pink lips. Crow's feet in the cracks of his mellow yellow eyes. How old is he, anyway? Drake wondered. Jesus was a fool to crawl up on that cross, said Easy. God made the devil. The devil is God's tool. He's a hammer in his hand. And the devil offered Jesus all the kingdoms of the earth. And don't you think that was part of this plan, too? What you think would have happened if Jesus had just said yes? I bet we wouldn't be slumming in Akawe right now. Akawe, now that's the name of this city. It's a poor city, a beaten-up city, a city an hour's drive from Detroit, where cars were made and then the cars that it made left along with the money, along with the people. I don't know, said Drake. I ain't religious. Easy laughed. No, you ain't, he said. Here, look. I got something new for you here to test out for me. Make some night special, full of secrets. He was holding, underhand, a Ziploc bag with 5 white pills inside. Well, what is it? Asked Drake. It's a new thing. Chalks call it O-sugar. It's kind of like E, kind of not. Try it out. Give it some time. Don't go to sleep, though. Look, you're going to see the world through God's eyes, feel like Jesus would if he said yes to his good friend the devil. After Easy signed off, Drake helped his dad and his sister unpack until the sun went down and his friends came over. They all sat on the front porch, drank 40s, smoked up, put the pills of O-sugar on their tongues and swallowed them. Then they talked about music and cars and love and sex. TK's Frankenstein star running on the soldered guts of 4 different cars. Dee Dee sad in her heart that this boy Sean didn't see the woman in her like she saw the man in him. J-Mo, well, he kept farting. He said he liked the kids' urinals best because that way his dick didn't brush the puck. Get it? Because he had a big dick. This whole time Drake didn't talk. He kept looking at Sapphire, sly, like he thought she wouldn't notice. Her eyes, her face, her tiny and perfect nose, and he felt her laughter run his spine like blue notes down a keyboard. She was a song he hoped he might play someday, but not in a crude or a predatory way. He hoped he was a conversation she might like to have. The kid's heart started to glow in their chest with a slow, soft burn. That was the beer talking. So they walked down the driveway to Dee Dee's Aubrey, and they left Lestrade. They crossed the expressway into Anderson Park. Tidy houses, neat lawns where the mayor and the university presidents lived, but even these exalted ones couldn't keep St. Christopher's Hospital open in crumbling Akawe. This complex towered in the midst of the neighborhood. It was full of empty, dark neighborhoods and staring statues. Dee Dee parked on a side street of prim brick Cape Cods with small yards, and they all walked the last half block to the hospital. Above them, the moon waxed, and the whole sky, the everything, it seemed to unfurl, it seemed to offer itself to Drake, limpid, tender. Is that the O-sugar? Is that Sapphire? Is that just the weed? Drake swelled into the wide space of that raw and thrilling moment. TK led them across the cracked parking lot to the loading dock. There, they hauled up the service gate, and they slipped inside, quick, quiet. TK led them down into the fluorescent-lit basement. You see, there were seven buildings in the St. Christopher's complex, but they were all connected by underground tunnels. And after they hit a few dead ends, they found their way to the central building, the 6-story main building with a floor plan shaped like a giant cross. Well, as those kids climbed floor by floor, moment by moment, the shadows around them expanded with opportunities, a promise of potential, regrets, redress, their future converging upon their past, everything forgotten, everything forgiven, and infinities of little universes that hid in dark corners in the cluttered closets of that empty space. They were clear of matter, but they were clouded with tension of opportunities ready to emerge. And by the time they reached the roof, they all felt dizzy and disoriented, and before downstairs their yearning spirits had stretched into each new second, each new room. But now that the potential for movement threatened actual motion, now that acceleration accelerated, they all got a little scared. They all wanted to stop it. Babies, I think I gotta sit down, said J-Mo. Well, they all sat. I feel sad. I feel sore, said Sapphire, and she started plucking at her hair. Hold my hand, Saph, said Dee Dee, and they all held hands. Drake looked wildly around, and they all looked up in the sky, and far off the sound of a train rang out, and at that moment, the city lights opened wide like eyes, and the stars glowed and exploded, and heat spilled like syrup from above, dust and clouds shining and spinning with lightning and friction, planetoids and asteroids whirling with volcanoes down jets of solar steam, and as the train whistle rang out, it compressed, it compacted, it tonally shifted upward, higher with panic, and as the pitch got higher and higher, Drake felt better and better, and it terrified him. He climbed on top of himself, his palms pushed down on his head to hold his soaring heart in place. But God, the shadows everywhere slid up a convex hypotenuse from the streets below. They flexed out along invisible tightropes, bowing down from the downtown skyscrapers that they could see from up there, and everything kept turning blue and bluer, turning blue and bluer and bluer all the way to purple, and the shadows moved fast towards the kids. The shades swung their arms. They were the remnants of that abandoned place. They were humans. They had blue coins instead of eyes. They had flown away when their owners, people, patients checked out and went home or died at that hospital. But now they returned. They were sucked in even though they were trying to rise. Their escape velocity was denied. They were pulled back toward the points of departure. But the shadows converged and became more human-like. But even as that happened, Drake's friends were reduced to matter and residuals. TK and Dee Dee and J-Mo and Sapphire, who he had known for all those years, they lost their eyes. They lost their ability to speak. Their faces had become smooth plains of flesh and finally pure fields of electricity. Small blobs, data balls started to grow and divide. Oxygen bloomed. The kids were floating. It was impossible, but it was happening. And as they did, the lights got brighter and brighter, heightened and compressed, flattened and overheated. Sapphire, Drake tried to say, and he leaned toward where he knew she was. He was straining to see the features on her face again. Then space pressed in, and Drake felt himself pushed out over the edge of the building. He fell. He was falling. Yellow parking lot lines dropped away beneath him, and they approached. They got small. The last thing he saw before he hit were black streaks of Grapanian spirals dotting away and multiplying. You see, the sky was a dome, but that parking lot was deep. Thank you.